Hello and nice to have you here. Today I want to take up a frequently asked question, namely, what is the Continuous Zap program used for? And if you like my videos, I'd be pleased if you subscribe and give a like, and I'd also be happy if you share the video so that the topic gets a little more exposure. Now back to the main topic. The Continuous Zap is one of the 16 standard programs on the Diamond Shield Zapper, and it is a program that was discovered by chance by Dr. Hulda Clark as a kind of universal treatment against all kinds of pathogens. The program is independent of frequency because its effectiveness is in the positive offset voltage generated by the battery. According to her, all bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites are eliminated at a voltage between 5 and 10 volt for a duration of 7 minutes in the frequency range between 10 and 500,000 Hz. She usually used the program in a sequence of 3 7-minute applications and 2 20-minute breaks because she noticed that after 7 minutes of application, parasites had died. But bacteria were testable again, which led her to assume that they were inside the dead parasites. After a further 7 minutes, the bacteria died and the viruses that had been living in the bacteria emerged, and after a further 7 minutes, nothing more could be tested. Therefore, according to her research, 3 times 7 minutes of zapping were necessary to eliminate all pathogens. This assumption that this would kill all pathogens has now been refuted by newer, more in-depth test procedures. The pathogens, and especially the various stages, cannot be completely killed off so quickly, but they can be weakened, which means that the immune system can take better action against them. This type of zapper application works mainly through the channels and fluids of the body, means through the blood and lymphatic system, whereby some areas such as the inside of the digestive tract cannot be reached. In contrast to frequency zapping, the whole thing has been summarized under the term regular zapping. There are 2 versions of this program on the Diamond Shield, namely 727 and Continuous Zap, which is exactly the same but without pauses. But where you can use this program? Basically, anywhere the aim is to suppress pathogens, for example, colds, flu-like infections, parasite contamination, fungal contamination, and inflammation. You could even try it for chronic pain because pathogens can often be found there. The Continuous Zap also brings more oxygen back into the tissue. What naturopath Baklayan was also able to prove in his studies is that the Continuous Zap program has a positive effect on the appearance of the blood in the dark field microscope after just 7 minutes of use. You may have heard of the so-called money roll formation, where you can see how the erythrocytes stack up in the blood, which is similar to money rolls. In the field of alternative medicine, and especially among therapists who diagnose with the dark field microscope, this phenomenon is not considered normal, but something that occurs with various stresses such as hyperacidity, oxygen deficiency, poor circulation, or even electrosmog. The whole thing can be reversed by various measures, and one way of doing this is the Continuous Zap program. Also, the positive change is not permanent, but the application must be repeated, and a holistic treatment concept is certainly needed for persistent complaints to find a long-term solution. The formation of money rolls is merely an indication that the flow properties of the blood are not as they should be. By dissolving these, the oxygen uptake in the blood is better again, and the immune system is activated. In acute cases, you can also use the program 2 to 3 times a day. Continuous Zap until you notice a significant change in your condition, means cold clears up, flu-like symptoms brighten up, and so on. Then drink plenty of water, and if after a few hours you feel that the cold is getting worse again, immediately start the program again. If your symptoms are chronic, then 2 to 3 times a week. I would also run it 2 or 3 times a week for longer term applications such as parasite exposure, but over a longer period. On the Zapper, there's also the Continuous Zap Program with a duration of 60 minutes. This is exactly the same as the 727, but without the breaks in between. Personally, if I had the time, I would use the 727 as the 20-minute breaks always provide good relief through grounding. You can do it however you like, but I would recommend reducing the time to less than an hour. I could imagine that it's a bit much, as the body must get rid of all the substances that are released. After such an application, the immune system becomes active and has a lot to do, so don't do too much at once. Also remember, to maximize the success of your treatments, it is often necessary to take additional supplements. In the case of parasites, for example, papain capsules, and a cure for the intestines, liver, and kidneys may be necessary. There is also a video on this, which I will link above. In acute cases such as flu, colds, and so on, make sure you have a good supply of vitamin D and C, and always drink enough good water so that dissolved substances leave the body. If you have local inflammations, it can always increase the effectiveness if you treat locally with the electrodes. Means in the case of Achilles tendonitis, it is best to place one electrode above the ankle and the other electrode on the forefoot, simply so that the area you want to reach is surrounded by electrodes. Adhesive electrodes are also helpful here. And what is also important is that you can always expand the Continuous Zap program with other programs or chip cards, which often make sense, such as the cold program for infections, or the 4 walls, or the immune modulation viruses to stimulate the immune system. If you have an inflammation with pain, then the pain program. The immune modulation parasites card to strengthen the immune system specifically against parasites, and so on. Of course, the Diamond Shield program first and everything that feels good to you. I hope this information helps you and now you know how to use the Continuous Zap. There is a lot of positive feedback from users and many use it 10 to 15 minutes daily, simply for prevention and because it feels good to them. As always, below the video you will find links to the topic, to affiliate links where you get 5% on your orders and also support me. Thank you very much for that. I look forward to your comment. Let me know if you use the program regularly and what experiences you had with it. Now, I wish you all the best, have a good time and see you soon.